being taken off the board.
Yeah, we don't see her as much in the LPL except against Smolder, but you're right. Every now and then, someone will bring it out. Hell, Hope's been one of the people on AL side who have actually leaned on it quite a bit. I'm surprised they're going with it so early, but really wanting to put emphasis on Ruler in this game. And also saying, hey, they feel like no matter what the bot lane 2v2 matchup is, they will be just fine.
And with Vi especially as well, point and click.
Yeah, the take and taking that away, right? Because that always was the go-to answer against Zeri when Zeri was a menace in Pro League of Legends. So I love that they get it right alongside it.
Now we're questioning, is it going to be the Millia or the Nami for Kael in the bottom side alongside Hope? We've seen both iterations from him. We've seen the Nami actually more so this split from him rather than the Millia. But I guess we're going to get a different revised 2v2 as AL look for the lock-in. I'm more questioning what Croco is going to play. Do you play Xin Zhao into this? Or do you go a different direction? Or do you just say, nah, screw it. Let's just take away Yagao's Hery that he got 2 games in a row.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the play. Shanks has only played it so far once this split, and now, I mean, AL have been keeping with the same strides in terms of when they're looking to power spike so far all throughout this series. JDG are going to be the ones leaning back into a bit of a slower early game. But hey, that's not anything that they're afraid of. I mean, hell, we saw that, like you said, in the top esports series, being much different than that series has been in any previous year.
I'm just counting his champions. Missing now most individual picks, unique picks, I should say, on JDG. Now at 12, I believe. 3, 6, 9. Yeah, this is his 12th unique pick, his first Lulu game this split. But I think more so, as you said, the JDG are leaning back. Like, this is as leaning back as you could be. This is like, man, I better get another cup of coffee because we are going late. We are looking for the scaling of Ruler. We are going to what the JDG win condition in, 2022 was? When, was that their most successful? Or was it last year? No, it was last year as well, right? Just play for Ruler's team fighting as well.
Yeah, I guess last year, though, they did have the aggression just because of the quality of some of their laners to where, I mean, remember 2022, just the way they played was much more calm and precise, and they won a title, right? 2022 summer was the winning split for JDG. I now kind of refocusing back in. I like some of these bands, especially the Talia. I think not only pairing well with the Vi, but also then being able to try to work and protect that Zeri Lulu in the bot lane. And JDG are just rounding out with a bit of everything, right? They have the hyper carry. They have now massive frontline. They have ways to dive in and force fights on top of Lulu just enabling it all.
Oh, this would be a Hery pick, though, on the other side. This is a Hery pick from Ultra Prime days that I can vibe with. The Sejuani, also something that's been looked at before, and would make sense if we got that Camille into Cassante after the fact as well, right? Because melee solo laner, for whatever regard, that puts Hery on top of the list as lanes to focus to.
It seems like what they've done is be like, all right, we didn't get our hands on the Vi. How else do we lock down this Zeri? And they went with as much lockdown as they could. Hextech Ultimatum, always going to make sure that they can manage Ruler. That's why 4 JDG marking flanks is going to be very important in this game. But looking at it, right, you're hoping that AL is going to be able to find some sort of advantage, so JDG just can't start shutting them out from very early. I love the Annie. They are going to lock it in. So just even more control, even more point-and-click CC, I think is good, especially later on when we're going to be peeling for Ruler and making sure that he can get out safely. Hell, even just putting so much threat on Hope, or if Hery finds an angle where he can get onto the back line. So I like the consistency that JDG's comp has, and now we're going to see if AL's aggression can manage to pull through this time. They found the early game lead in game 2, but weren't able to translate it.
Yeah, I mean, game 1 as well, that early aggression came through. It's what helped them win the game. They were able to translate it in that specific game. But further to your point, I think we also need to highlight that for AL, if these lanes don't go well, also, legs to stand on get less and less. As you were talking about the scaling there for JDG, the point and click, there's a lot of tools to keep Ruler alive and get this game into a nice 5v5 state. But for AL, I'm just going to say, if the lanes go horribly, like, what damage is there going to be? What is going to happen? Like, it does feel like for AL, a riskier comp. Maybe throwing a curveball towards JDG. But AL Game 3 better not let me down because of it. I swear to God, it better be something beautiful. Because if I get this rendition of AL's RNG Game 3, I'm going to be very sad. And AL will too. Because this could be the game that they look back and be like, dude, we could have won this series. We could have made it into playoffs.
Look,
with their hard schedule left.
AL, if you win this game, Hysterics is kicking JDG out of the solo room. They're getting put in the shared room with OMG, and you get the single room.
Yeah, I got 5 beds in there because unfortunately subs don't get beds. That's just the way it is. Yeah, that's the truth. And for AL, if they want to live comfortably, if they want to be sleeping in a bed tonight, they're going to put their best foot forward here against JDG.
Here's the question then. So who on JDG is not getting the bed? Because Flandre was mainly the starter until now, but now we've had, 2 series of Sheer in a row.
Flandre gets the bed because even though Sheer's been starting, like, again, last 2 series, Flandre's played more. And, it's like going into work, right? Like, the newbie's not going to get paid the same amount as the guy who's been there. And just because the guy's been there has taken a couple of weeks off doesn't mean you get the same respect. You're just a fill-in for now. You're not the starter. I know that sounds harsh.
No. I mean, the easy way to put it, he's paying his dues, right? He's just coming to the family. He's got to pay his dues, earn his spot, then he gets his bed. He's whatever kind of bed he wants.
He might be at the kids' table for the time being. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way it is. Sometimes wait, they're doing the response. AL did this before.
He stole their idea.
They just copied them. They literally copied them. They just copied AL 3v2 walk-in bot on red side.
Yeah. JDG saw that. They're like, hey, that worked pretty well. And now they don't find as much as AL did, right? AL were able to get a flash in that last game for missing, but still, you come out with a bit of a health trade. Kael, of course, on the Nami is going to be able to help them both sustain back up, but it's going to allow them to get pressure at level 1.
Well, look at the very least. The pressure comes through, doesn't end up being a summoner. I think that's the important trade here. The fact that last time it was missing, who got chunked down so much that the lane in the 2v2 started off pretty atrociously. For AL, they are able to stay in here, but Hope and Kael are getting pushed back at the level 2. As you can see, Rule Up all in, just over the wall. Has no fear because there's no dredge line to pull him back into turret.
Ruler is angry because he hasn't been able to carry a game yet. In his contract, it's been promised he at least always gets to carry 1 game. So you can tell that this is going to be the one where he makes up for it.
Okay, I didn't know that because, again, I haven't seen his contract, but obviously, like, that makes sense. It's not a have to, but it's like you're allowed to carry 1 game. And if it's going to be on Zeri as well, that makes a lot of sense when Ruler's so good at it.
Yeah, JDG... I don't know why I expected more there when they're both full HP, but just the way that Yagao was waddling forward menacingly made me expect a little bit more. But quite a slower first few minutes than we've seen so far. Even if we weren't necessarily getting kills in those last 2 games, we had a lot of attempted early action. This time around with JDG opting into the scaling, it seems like they're a lot more all right with waiting it out. And even for AL, right? Having the Sejuani and the Camille, I think you're waiting for the right opportunity to be able to link up with that and actually get full value out of the Sedge.
True. Again, we talked about the melee top side as well, but, for AL, a lot of different directions. I think we can talk about this early game. Bot and top feel like avenues to play through. Feel like they can kind of expose the weakness of some of JDG's early lanes. Now, bot's out of the question with this slow push going towards Ruler and missing, which I'm sure they're comfortable about, but more importantly, the fact that they've had such a nice early start on this 2v2. Well, with that deep invade from Croco, he's just trying to spot out where Kanavi is, where he's going to be next. A couple of wards placed down on the entrances and on the camps of this jungle to find out maybe what he can do in topside in the future.
Ooh, really nice bubble coming out from Kael to make sure they get a good trade. But I agree, it's reminiscent to Game 1 when AL's vision was so clean. Some of their vision lines were really nice at being able to find all the information they needed. So they're going to know anytime Kanavi's topside, it's going to give a lot of safety to Hery because for AL, even though Hery's going to be one of the key members they play around, he's going to be fine in the 1v1. There isn't a whole ton of gank pressure against the Cassante, so you want to leave him on his own, let him get his own advantage, and just try to enable your bot lane to be able to get ahead.
But, their bot lane is not going to be in that state. I mean, they're a bit behind in CS. I think there was a small recall from Ruler. He picked up Doran's Blade or picked up Kael, either of the 2. Hope also made a recall, but it was as that push was coming in. So as JDG's bottom lane now reset, Kanavi on the other timer is going to trade here for the Krugs. Romp, whatever. Raptors, doesn't matter. Croco might be dead. He's going to turn into an animal himself as he flashes away. Polymorph almost makes it done, but Yagao now supporting his jungler as Kael. Going to get an Aqua Prison, but no one's here to follow up. As Kanavi playing hyper-aggressive in the face of this bottom side.
And the pathing we saw taken from missing to walk all the way around to link up with him to help him force that flash out of Croco. So that's going to turn into a Drake for JDG. Another nice early start, especially getting it this early, right? They're going to be able to threaten a potentially early soul. I guess for their comp, even if they don't get a hand, you know, they don't necessarily have to force an early soul fight, but just going to give them so much more time if AL ends up finding any agency in this game.
They need to find some. We've already said that before as Dragon goes down for JDG. Early game has been quite efficient so far. It's a smooth pace for them, as we also kind of indicated that feels like the way to play this game. And it's kind of a smooth pace that's come off the back of this bot side. You know, again, that movement set up for the Dragon. Ruler got to make a small back on a dagger and boots, but still for Zeri, that feels nice. As they just hold on this bottom side wave, and as Kanavi on this Vi gets closer to getting level 6 to make magic happen on some of these ganks as well. So look at the wave state, by the way. Lyric, you smart man. Look at this. How annoying is this for Hope and Kael?
Oh, well, is it
classic.
annoying?
I mean, missing
it's
just
annoying.
what
It's
a classic.
annoying.
Yeah, it's a little bit. A little bit. Slow push. It's coming through.
Yeah, missing, taking a bit of a trade there, but doesn't really end up meaning much. We're at the point where Hery's level 6. Croco will be there soon. I wonder if they want to look for, you know, potentially like a one-off gank towards topside, just because it would be very easy to set up. You do have all of Croco's camps coming down towards bot, so I'd assume they're going to want to just keep covering for their bot lane. The thing is for AL, right? They're still waiting for a lot of their power to come from the Camille with her getting strong. So there aren't any like too obvious of big explosive plays that they can be looking for, especially since Kanavi's done such a great job of matching them around bot side anytime Croco's been on this half of the map.
I mean, I think that's what Kanavi did really well in the last game as well. Like, matching bot side seems to be the play. I mean, this is actually the quietest bot side we've seen so far, as Croco now comes over the wall looking to say otherwise, because this series has just been about who can get more numbers down bottom side first. And as Shanks gets spotted on a ward, Ruler missing, pay respect, but it's AL who started again. Over the Aqua Prison, Ruler was very ambitious, because if he gets locked up there, who knows what happens next with Shanks now having ulti.
Yeah, luckily manages to get out. So the ping-ponging of waves does continue. JDG are going to be completely fine with the state of the map, not even caring about going and checking for grubs. We know Croco picked up 2 earlier, didn't finish off the last one. Seems like JDG really don't care this game. I guess it makes sense, though, because when you look at their composition with how the lanes have been playing out, too, this feels like a game where grubs, especially if you were able to get to the mites, wouldn't even be able to offer you all that much. Definitely is a dragon stacking game for JDG.
When is Cassante going to fall out of meta? I'm sick of this champion. I'm going to be quite real. It has been 5 long patches of 14 that we have been sitting here and being like, Cassante relevant again. And then he gets minorly tweaked, adjusted, and he's still relevant. And the fact that, you know, again, I mean, she has looked great on him, don't get me wrong, but just seeing him on my screen, I am kind of over it. I don't know your thoughts on this, champ.
Well, my question would be, like, what would you rather have? Because I'll say for tanks, I do enjoy Cassante. I think the nerfs were like somewhat meaningful again when he goes in all out now. It's harder for him to just run people down with that Q slow being gone. But yeah, I don't know. I would welcome other things top lane, but I'm also fine with having him over, you know, if it was Sion or in every game.
Ornn is actually very fun. Ornn is
I do like Ornn. I also like Sion. I just don't want them every game.
Hello. On a ward. Good ward by AL, by the way. This bottom side ward actually not going to be in range of the control ward. Kanavi's like, they don't see me, surely. As now for Sheer, guess what? Croco sees him. 1 versus 2. It's Cassante, a clock, the all-out use. The ulti from downtown doesn't connect. Sheer gets out, and that's another reason why we don't like Cassante.
There it is. AL, I think, also not chaining that play together too well. Not able to time the Sejuani ult. I think right after the Hextech ultimatum does come down, ends up not being able to connect with it. But that was the play we were talking about, right? Typically, you look once with the Sejuani Camille top. JDG, though, they know the rules. The rules are we go bot.
Yeah,
they're doing.
It's written into their contracts as well. They have to go bot at least 5 times a game, and So far, it's only been 2, so Kanavi trying to make up for that so he doesn't go into prison. Speaking of, Aqua a clock from Kael as well as Croco now moves down to bot side, but you can see Yagao moving as well. Means that AL a little bit trepidatious in going any further.
Oh, where are they? Culling gonna do a nice amount to both Ruler and Missing. Dragon's coming up in 20 seconds, so AL now with the Scuttle Crab, now with that Culling, having full control over this bot side river.
Meanwhile, Sheer just gets topside turret. Not sure what happened. I guess after the play, Sheer just didn't even teleport in. Hery just didn't have his own TP, must have backed it in an awkward position and loses the plate because of it as well. As you said, Dragon, let's go. Round 2, Aqua Prison away. Croco jumps in, and we are doing this dance again.
Glacial Prison still not up for Croco, and that is a massive tool for AL. Culling's down, but that at least got value. Yagao!
Flash tippers over the wall. That's good. Ruler gets first blood, and AL now getting chased down with a Zeria triple knockup as well. Oh my god, Yagao, as you said, when he's on something that can make use of his tools, he goes hard as Shanks with Spirit Rush can't finish off Kanavi. Dragon going to be taken, 2 kills for JDG, and like we've seen, whoever gets a better early trade in the bottom side usually leads to success.
And look who those 2 kills ended up on. Ruler being the big one to benefit. Yeah, AL are going to be kicking themselves. And again, it looks like AL so frequently can get it together in game 1. I believe even their RA series was the same, but not able to hold it together throughout a whole series. Get them in LCS, man. Get them in the best of once. And AL will be showing up. But here, Yagao gets some movement speed from Missing at first, and Flash Tivers. Oh, going with the cleanse, even though he didn't even initially get stunned. And guess what? Even if you do get away, you're up against the Vi. Bolt Breaker's there. But it's going to be the, it was the Lulu ult that also impressed me for Missing, right? Keeping them there with that knockup, making sure that JDG get those 2 kills.
We already hyped them last game, but like seeing JDG skirmish and team fight like that, again, that's their bread and butter. It's what they're known for. And when they do it like that, when it's so clinical like that, kind of reminds you why this team is so good. The coordination, even though the parts have changed to one of their old parts in mid and, you know, a very new one in the top side, it's still JDG shot calling that at its peak looks like that. So Ruler, we already mentioned, gets first blood and second blood. And this guy's going to be getting third, fourth, fifth blood at this point as well, because Zeri is huge. Already 2 kills, a bounty, and static shit picked up nice and early. There you go. There's the gold. He is 1,300 up on Hope.
Yeah, having a sizable advantage, and now having the static shiv, even his wave clear is going to get much better, and he's going to have a lot more freedom to move around the map with Missing like we see here. And what a weird series so far in relation to caring about grubs. Last game, second grubs, no one cared. This game, second grubs once again. No concern for. Both these teams just putting full emphasis around making sure their bot lanes are fine. We're getting to a point now with Hery having the Triforce where maybe we're going to start seeing a bit more presence with this Camille.
I told you grubs didn't matter. I told you, no one cares. Everyone still cares. Like, plating goes down from, what was it, 150 in past patches to 125. People are still like, we're going to set up bot, we're going to set up plating, because Dragon also on this side of the map. And I will also add in the caveat that as Hope gets spotted on a ward here and tries to be sneaky, that in this series so far too, that has been apparent because Dragon stacking has also helped win games. Dragon fights have helped win games for AL in game 1, for game 2 for JDG. They got Dragon stacking nice and early too. Game 3 the same, as Yagao is going against that by setting up top lane, but he can't do too much with a Camille and a lot of ways out. But again, Lurk, Dragon stacking just wins games. I think it's easy to say.
You know, I think the LPL blessed you today because we've actually been seeing a lot more teams not only play for grubs, but just play around top more, which has been a bit surprising. Teams have leaned a bit away from bot. I mean, teams still mainly play around bot, but at the start of the split, it was like no one even looked at top lane. Now, you know, every now and then we have some teams like WE as well, you know, with Wayward having some really strong games. Teams like that, RNG around Breathe earlier on. Yep. But it seems like for the day, they decided Hysterics is back. We're back to the Boctagon, and we're getting a ton of aggression. So I hope your luck holds up, and our whole day is full of, maybe not this game 3, but, you know, game 1 and 2 are pretty in your face.
I'll just keep making punchy statements like, grubs don't matter, top is weak, bot is all that matters.
Go more controversial, go deeper.
Yeah, I'll go even deeper. Tops are useless ever since the Shy left, which is very true. And to be fair, I have kept his spirit alive in EU, if anyone's wondering. Giga Shy is my IGN. I had to do it, but I'm still leveling up, so there's
But
no
are you actually playing top now, or are you still playing support?
I wanted to play like mid AD carry, but then I'm like, no, I would do a disservice if I'm not playing top, so I'm gonna learn top.
You need to only play Quinn and rapid fire cannon for that one.
I was gonna play Lucian Kalista top. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. Is over the Herald, and now proving the point the opposite. Herald goes down. JDG get this uncontested, but AL is still here, and Croco's on a ward. He ulties out. Hope now in for an angle. Culling's good as well. Shanks angle good, but Charm flash away from Kanavi. Re-engages with Shears TP as well. They're in the Octodome. It's not the Boctagon, it's the Toptagon once again. Through the river, JDG find themselves a pick, but Kanavi's traded off as Shanks is lucky to be alive. Jungle for AD, but guess what? A kill goes over to Yagao, and mid now feels open.
Exactly. JDG are the ones who come off with the prio from that fight. They're pressuring AL, forcing on this tower, but okay, dodge out on the bubble was nice. But still, we have JDG absolutely chilling. They pick up another kill. They already have 2 Drakes. They have their Zeri getting stronger and stronger. The caveat I will say is there'll always be some potential for AL in the sense of, like, if Ruler is off on his own as a straggler, Camille and Ahri are there to pick him off. But in fights like this, where you just get that perfect, not even front to back, this felt more like a mishmash of everyone running in right on top of each other. We're going to see here Kanavi force back, but this ult forces everyone in, even Hery trying to peel, which in my mind just sets up perfectly for how JDG want to play, getting the AoE from the Tibbers onto everyone. Ruler able to do the same. Still, though, it did leave Kanavi in no man's land.
As we're going to fight again, aren't we? Just like the theme of the series, Sheer is taking a lot of damage, though. That Cassante with 1.5 items ain't tanky enough to people like Hope yet, as Herald gets a charge in the meantime while they're facing off. 2k gold lead for JDG as they now have the inside track towards mid-lyric, and AL a second fiddles to the show if they want to move in.
Yeah, and they even have the position to pressure this with Ruler on the Zeri. He feels so safe with that E.
Well, also with the Lulu by his side, that helps too.
Wow.
Just the power.
And I guess the power of that Lulu is what dissuaded AL from jumping on Ruler with that charm connecting.
They're going to do it now, but why now? Hery gets stunned up, and he's just going to get nuked. Wild Growth helps out, but Hery somehow still alive. Buys time, and Sheer can't finish the job. Kanavi does eventually, but as Ruler flashes over the wall, it looks like for JDG, they lost way more than they should have. 4 versus 3, but Ruler's still confident, but ulti runs out, and God, Hery took a while to die.
Exactly, and that feels like what ended up biting JDG, right? JDG got so tunnel visioned on killing Hery. It's like we're even wasting Kanavi's ultimate for a guy who's on like 1 HP. He's pretty much out of the fight, and it ends up coming back to make it so JDG can't find the advantage they were looking for. Because I was with you. Why here? Why here? You found the charm on Ruler like 2 seconds ago. They throw everything in. He gets locked down. And I feel like once he gets so... Sheer doesn't need to ult him is the first big problem. But even then, even if he gets out, leave him to his devices, set up to play around Ruler and Yagao, and I feel like JDG still could have turned this into a good fight, but nice job by AL. They get to benefit off of Sheer ulting him away from the rest of JDG, and they take it.
Well, look, no kills going over to Ruler at the back end of that trade either. I think it was Kanavi who finished off the job, but while that fight looks epically messy, JDG are still the ones holding the gold lead in this game. The only caveat I'll add in is that AL were able to stop the quick dragon stacking, pick up one themselves, slow down that timer, but I'm not sure how much I want to put faith in that because, again, as we set up in draft, we know that this is going to be a team fight from JDG. We know that it's going to be all about Ruler, the setup from Yagao as well. We know it's going to be harder for AL to execute with the angles they have to play in this game, utilizing some of the quick picks and burst potentials that they have in this draft.
Yeah, and you know, like they have pressure in sides, right? Ahri and the Camille, they're going to be there. They're going to have ways to try and create angles and look for picks. The problem is if JDG get on an early enough soul point. Luckily, AL did get that last Drake, so we're not going to be on a super early one to where you have to be all that concerned about the side lane pressure, but it is still going to be there.
Just invading in the meantime. I mean, JDG are just taking everything in this bottom side jungle. Kanavi sweeps through, gets red buff, gives over to Ruler, who, by the way, has Renan's Hurricane. And Yagao is just split pushing Annie. He's just left to his own devices in the side lane consistently. AL playing very slow towards these sides, scared of where Kanavi is. And as Shanks spots him out, that's the second turret that Yagao has just chopped away off. Now with Overambitious coming through from Shanks and Tibbers flying through, Spirit Rush is again used out to run away. Yagao just pops out Tibbers to say hello to.
Yeah, he didn't have the stun ready for when Kanavi went in, so seems like Kanavi and Yagao not exactly on the same page.
Which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense. Come on. Surely they should be the ones who are on the longest page together. Like Yagao and Kanavi played together for 2.5 years.
I mean, hell,
3?
I hear coming into the year that they wanted to play together. I hear that's one of the reasons why we have Yagao and Kanavi reunited once again. Is there are two players who really liked being on a team together in the past, and yeah, that does make it even weirder.
If I was missing, I'd also love to have Yagao on my team. Like as a support main throughout the years. I'd love when mid laners not only like play supportive mids, obviously depending on the meta, things like Talia, things like Annie, right? Things that make set up. Not supportive like Karma, but you know what I mean. But Yagao is also just that kind of player that will sack his lane, as you can see in this game, sacrifice CS in order to play the map just a little bit better in order to play for the team. As a support, I would love that. I'd be like, dude, as missing, I'd be like, I love that my mid laner is such a bro, you know?
Yeah. He's definitely a no ego player, right? I mean, maybe his ego moments, if you count some of the times he looks for kills that are a bit questionable, but very much willing to play for the team as he always has been. Is Kanavi? It's been a long time since we've had the Dumpling Brothers. I don't know why I thought of that just now, but
oh my
maybe
God,
it's you being back.
Where is Zoom? It's been years since Zoom's
been
been in the game. Right? He finished on Ultra Prime, didn't he? That was the last we saw of him. Is he retired? Let's have a look.
I know he's been on the LP, the Chinese broadcast.
He's not
before,
retired. He's not technically retired.
He's just waiting for the right. He's waiting to form the super team. Him, Mole, Y4, Baolan, and Haro. There it is.
Oh hell yeah. Okay, why is that the super team?
I don't know, but if there is any LPL org out there
Leftovers.
that wants a team, like sign me up, I'll get you that team.
Hang
Will
on,
it do well? I don't know, but it'll be kind of funny.
Was your 80 carry SMLZ or not?
No, it has to be Y4. I need the OG finger guns.
Oh my God, it does not have to be Y4. It does not have to be Y4. Just don't let it be Y4. I will take... I'll take SMLZ.
He's going to go through a training arc. We're going to force him to... He has to play 1,000 games of Draven in solo queue. Only Draven. And then he'll come out. We'll first pick it blue side against Jackie Love. And then you'll rue the day you didn't believe in the legend known as Y4.
I'm happy to be wrong, but Y4 also has an award ceremony named after him for a reason. That's all I'm going to say, bro. There is a reason the golden Y4s were cut from broadcast because they were too inappropriate at the time.
They did become the Golden Ricks, though. They became the Golden Ricks.
They did. They became the Golden Ricks, but I mean, it's been... we didn't even run them last year.
If you're out there and you remember the Golden Ricks, you're a true OG.
Not
really, actually.
If they remember the Golden Y4s, they're an OG, because that only happened once. Before we axe them for being rude.
Oh.
Where are AL? What? They're so deep. They just used two... No, they're only one ulti. AL very deep for this, but it's off the back of topside play. Kanavi soloing Dragon in the meantime. AL are just trying to bridge the gap between top inner turret and maybe threatening Baron. But as all 5 move up to this top lane, I mean, this is a ballsy play.
Yeah, and again, like you said, just how far forward, how aggressive they were willing to go out of nowhere. To end up backing off at the end, but they're set up to do this right because of that power from sides. Hery getting that push up there, which enabled the rest of AL to be able to follow through. Ooh.
They're going to see the back. They're going to see the back. Kanavi's ulting in. This is what I'm talking about. He came from mid. He might sacrifice his life, but now Ruler is unleashed. I see that jungler going down, and I think, maybe JDG could have played it a little bit better, and it looked good at the time. But what just happened?
Yeah, it seems like Kanavi thought the same thing of, I need to go now before they escape, not realizing, Hery.
Oh, Yagao gets a stun up, though. Shanks ulti's out. There's good damage coming through, and Sheer is a good front line as well. Shanks has to ulti all the way out. You may as well have a 4v4, and the health bar benefits JDG, but as Shanks backs away, teleport is available just without ulti, as JDG is still waiting for Kanavi to respawn in 10 seconds.
This game is getting weird. A lot of scraps coming out of nowhere. Kanavi being the only one to go down through all that, and we're going to get to see exactly what happens. So end up looking for the escape. They know one of the recalls is coming. And yeah, I mean, I get it, right? You don't want to allow them to get away, but the damage gets turned around. You have the CC there from both Shanks and Croco. And there's not even time for anyone to respond.
Not at all. I feel like, yeah, as you said, the game's getting weird, but I mean, this series has been having weird moments throughout. There's been engagements from JDG that are questionable. AL, I feel like, have been maybe the least questionable team in the series. Like, they've had some moments, but I think JDG are the ones who we have definitely put up to the chopping block a little bit more.
Yeah. I agree, because I guess there's a difference between a moment being bad or weird, right? Because when AL were losing in game 2, it's like, all right, JDG's playing these situations well. But so some of the moments we've seen from JDG are a bit more question marky. As speaking of question marks, actually nothing to do with question marks. Lord Doms finished for Hope. Sheer has to have some fear now, right? I didn't mean to rhyme that, but it did.
Yeah, okay. She has to have some kind of fear. I will say on the other side, I would have fear if I'm anyone from AL because Ruler also with 3 items, you know, quick plays picked up. Yeah. I mean, look, to be fair though, Hope has had a pretty decent series so far. I think he's been the most consistent one. And he is set up for success with things like the Nami with a lot of lockdown from AL that's going to come through from some of these angles as Yagao spots Shanks. He's like, hang on, what's this guy doing? Yagao runs towards the light. Not what you'd expect as Tippers comes through. Is Yagao running it? The answer could be yes as Shanks gets over the wall with Spirit Rush, jumps back in. Kanavi also could be running it, but here's Ruler and Sheer to save the day. Flash on top of Ruler though, might get a quick kill, but they can't kill him. Saved by missing. Again, Lulu does the job. A Quadra is as quick as anything. As Ruler to carry, we were damn right.
I cannot believe JDG managed to keep him alive in that fight. Like you said, missing the Lulu right there next to him. And now turning it into a big Baron. A game that I thought was quickly going to fall into AL's hands. It's like, oh my god, AL are being patient. AL are finding picks. JDG are face checking.
What was this?
It just...
what was Yagao doing?
Who knows? Like, I guess he could see some of them walking forward, so hoping he'd burst them out in time, but not expecting Croco to just jump over the wall and really underestimating Shanks' damage. This is where it looked like everything was going to go in favor of AL with Kanavi being quick to follow, but look at Ruler. Jumps over the wall, flashes in, has the massive ulti, and I can't believe he lives here. Ends up getting stunned by the E. The shields come in from the Lulu, the knockup from Kazante. Just really investing everything. Honestly, maybe even a bit lucky that some of those cooldowns coming up towards the end there, so Hery couldn't finish him off.
He gets a full item off that fight, by the way. That we just got a bit of lifeline into the mix. So Immortal Shield Bow makes 4 for Ruler. He's also 60 CS ahead of his lane opponent, 320 at 28 minutes. I mean, when we talked about it, like, yeah, you know, in the meta and the style of play, like, I think the past 2 years, it's not always been about the Ruler hard carry set up to succeed hyper carry late game. This guy wins team fights, but this game sure is a blast from the past.
Yeah, and they look so confident. Again, it goes back to the fine print, the words on the page. Lure gets to carry 1 game of each series. You can see AL trying to answer in top lane, though. Hery hoping to find his own, but this is just going to open up the base Baron. Even more.
It's against Baron. I don't think you win this. There's 2 members, as you said. So AL have 3 defending the base. The Baron enhanced recalls are also there in case they want to get away and change parts of the map or at least change position. But Dragon's also there, by the way. So inhibitor down. AL second fiddle again. And JDG are now just running for soul point that AL have to kind of clumsily walk towards themselves.
And AL look like they're not even... I don't know. What are AL doing? We just saw Hope start walking up towards top. All right. They've decided. They're just going to focus on getting the turrets that are right in front of them. I thought for a second Hope and the rest were going to start making their way up top and maybe look to find a pick on Kazante, which looks impossible. So I'm glad they decided against it in the end, but that's soul for JDG. Now they're going to be able to use the inhib they have down in bot and even look for more pressure on the map.
How easy this game suddenly become. I mean, all that one team fight in topside. Feels like it changed the game. Well, okay, let's be real. Like, Ruler was still always going to be big in team fights, but if Ruler goes down there, I feel like for AL, then suddenly, you know, like Baron setups there, maybe Dragon denial, game goes a little bit longer. I don't know. I think there were a lot of options for AL that was showing light in a lot of these fights, but Again, for JDG, it reigns supreme. Kind of feels like we're dealing with top esports again. But at this time, at least it's been a lot quicker to start off the series. We haven't been as slow as now for JDG opening up mid. Seems super easy.
I've gone to the streets, and, you know, I found some solid info. So I've checked the last few series, and anytime AL loses, they win the first game, but lose the next two. When they win, it is the complete reverse. I don't understand how, but that's how it goes.
Dude, they're literally T1 Challenger. T1 Challenger wins game 1, then loses the remaining 2 games. Like, there are so many series that T1 Challenger should have won that maybe AL should have been the same. Now, Ruler might be caught out as TP comes through. That ulti flies from Croco, but Hery tries to get back on, but no one can touch Ruler with the wild growth and the Zeri ulti. He just pops in. No fear whatsoever, even though the damage is flying through from the members of Hery. With Lulu by his side, Missing and Ruler become unstoppable. Sheer cleans out the backside, which, to be fair, his Cassandre looks so busted. And JDG now flash over to make their end a 2-1.
Yep, JDG with this win won't be able to fall any lower than 7th in the standings, so getting closer to being able to lock themselves in towards some of those buys. Really nice bounce back in these second 2 games, and again, just another unfortunate situation for AL. Sadly, they don't get to move into the solo room.
No, they don't. They're grounding for a little bit longer. 7-7 AL. Still with a tough task. They need to win at the very minimum at least 1. But every win counts. I mean, AL want that safety net. God, is it looking hard right now. Again, similar values to the RNG series we saw from this team, where AL really struggled to find their moment in the sun. But I think more importantly, drafts felt a little bit better this time. But against JDG, that bot side, it was all in or nothing. And it ended up being nothing 2 games in a row.
Yeah, this time around, it looked so much smoother for JDG. It was a lot slower. They were doing fine. But I actually don't get to keep rambling on because, you know, we're in different stadiums today, so we have more series to move on to. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back. We're going to have a bunch more League of Legends, and Hysterics is still going to be here.
I'm still going to be here. Ruler